Hello everyone, my name is Pravesh, your AWS community builder. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing something fun and cloud native. We'll deploy a classic Tetris game containerized with Docker onto AWS ECS, which is Elastic Container Service, and we'll automate everything using Terraform. By the end of this video, you'll see how ECS works behind the scene, how to write Terraform config to spin up cloud infrastructure, and finally how to access your very own Tetris screen running on AWS. Sounds exciting? So let's do it. So let's start with a quick intro. So I have written down a blog about this project. I'll provide you the link of it in the description box. So Amazon ECS, which is Elastic Container Service, is a fully managed container orchestration service created by AWS. It lets you run, scale, and manage Docker container either on EC2 instance, which are basically the virtual machine of AWS, or using a serverless option called AWS Fargate. The core idea is simple. Firstly, you create an ECS cluster, the environment where your containers run. Then you define a task definition. It's like a blueprint that describes which Docker image to run and how. Then you create a service which ensures your container is always running. And the best part, you don't have to do this manually in the console. We'll use Terraform to automate the entire process. So before we start, make sure you have an AWS account. Install and configure AWS CLI with your IAM credential, and of course have Terraform and Docker installed on your system. So I have explained AWS CLI setup in detail on my other blogs. You can check the link in the description. So before going further, let me go to the IAM dashboard to show you which IAM user I am using. Kind of funny to say that, right? So this is the IAM dashboard. Here I have two users. So I am using Lite as my configured CLI user. So let me show you which permission I'm granting it. So I have attached administrative access here. So I will warn you, don't ever use administrative access in your development or production environment. You can only use it for testing to avoid permission denied error. Since we are just testing this project out, that's why I have attached. So I will recommend always use the principle of least privileges. Okay. So now before deploying to the cloud, let's test the Tetris game locally. So open your terminal and run the Docker command. Docker run 20-p Docker the username. Okay, so our Tetris game is up and running. Let's go to localhost 80. So here we have our Tetris game. Just press space to play and you can enjoy the game. So there you have your own Tetris game running in the container. So let's just close it, kill the container. So now to the fun part. Let's deploy this to the AWS. So first we'll clone my GitHub repository which hosts the code for this application. So let's copy it, git clone, paste it. Let's navigate inside the directory. So we are using Terraform best practices. So our state file will be stored remotely in an S3 bucket defined in backend.tf file. So firstly, let me show you the backend.tf file. So here you can see that we have specified the bucket name as Pravesh Tetris backend, and I don't have this bucket created yet. So let me show you that. So I only have this bucket Pravesh Mario bucket 123, which is one of the buckets from my previous project. So firstly, let's create the bucket. AWS S3 empty and followed by the bucket name. So let's navigate inside the Terra config directory and let's hit Terraform init to initialize our Terraform configuration. So our Terraform has been successfully initialized. So to preview what will be created, let's run Terraform plan. So it says that 8 resources are created. So let me show you what resources will be created. So first we have our ECS cluster. This creates a logical cluster named Tetris cluster where our Tetris task will run. Next we have ECS service. So this makes sure that at least one instance of our Tetris task is always running on the cluster using the Fargate launch type. We have also assigned a public IP. Here it is true, so that it is accessible from the internet. Below that we have our ECS task definition. So this is like a blueprint for ECS. It tells which Docker image to use, which in our case is this UZ-EXE Tetris latest. Resource allocation, here we specify our CPU and the memory utilization, and we have specified the network mode as AWS VPC for Fargate, and it also adds port mapping, which in our case is port 80. So below that we have our IAM role. So ECS tasks need permission to pull images, write logs, etc. And this IAM role allows the ECS agent to assume required permission. And below that we can also see our ECS task execution policy, which attaches AWS managed policy named Amazon ECS task execution role policy to our role above. Below that we have our security group. So security group are like a virtual firewall. It allows HTTP inbound traffic on port 80 and all outbound traffic, and along with that you can see the egress and the ingress rule. So the ingress rule specifies that it allows all TCP traffic on port 80 from everywhere, and the egress rule allow all outbound traffic so the container can fetch updates, etc. So this is our configuration. We have also specified some universal VPC and subnet, because in the values.tf file you can see that we are fetching the default AWS VPC and the subnet. So let's apply these changes. Terraform apply -approve. So this will take about 2 to 3 minutes. So let's wait for our resource to provision. So Terraform has created our ECS cluster, IAM role and policy, a task definition pointing to a Tetris Docker image, and an ECS service running the container on Fargate. So once the deployment is done, we just need the public IP of the task to access the game. So to simplify this, I wrote a bash script called getIP.sh in the project root directory. So let's see it once. We just need to make it executable. So let's run this command. Now we just need to run this command with public IP. So here we have the URL on which our game is running. So let's copy it, go to our browser, paste it here. So here you can see that our application is running on an ECS cluster, including, let me show you the bash script that shows public IP of this application. So it is basically a bash script that uses a bunch of AWS commands. Firstly, we are setting the region, cluster name and the service name. Then first we are getting the task ARN using the ECS list task command. Then using that ARN we are getting the network interface ID, and after that using the network interface we are getting the public IP of that network interface, and if the public IP is listed it will be echoed using the public IP command, and here we have our URL for that. So it is a basic bash script. So You can manually do that by listing all the command, but to automate everything, I have written down the bash script. So now we have our Tetris game. So this marks the end of the project. So before concluding, let's tear down our resources to avoid unrecurring cost. So let's go inside the Terra config directory and here run Terraform destroy auto. So this will take about 1 to 2 minutes and it will destroy all the resources that were created. So that's it. You have just learned how to run a Dockerized app locally, deploy it on AWS ECS using Terraform, automate everything as infrastructure as code. If you found this video useful, like, share, comment your question. I'd love to help. And check out the full written guide on my blog. I will provide you the link in the description. And if you try out this project, I will highly recommend you to post about it on LinkedIn and make sure to tag me along that. Let me show you my LinkedIn. So it is Pravesh Sudha. You can follow me here. So thanks for watching and happy building in the cloud. Ciao.